there's no way to say this but to say it. And I've been trying to figure out the best way for the longest time how to put these words together. I'm not sure how I'm gonna do it, but we're gonna try. I have a friend who recently lost her sister, and post-COVID, it seems like we're losing people faster. And particularly as we get older, we're going to lose people more. The more people you know, the more people you're going to lose. If you are a gregarious person, you got a lot of friends and family, you're going to lose more people. About a year and a half now, I lost a good friend of mine. She was my best friend. And the one thing that I am grateful for is something that I received. It was a gift I received many years ago. I was working at an insurance company, and I befriended a woman that I'll call Miss Rivers. If she watches this, she'll know exactly who she is. So, Miss Rivers and I became friends. She's a few years older than me. Excuse me. She was dating a younger guy, I think, Mr. Let's call him Mr. Race. Miss Rivers and Mr. Race, I like those. So, Miss Rivers is dating Mr. Race, and Mr. Race worked at a funeral home, and his grandmother passed away. And the whole time, he took care of her. He had been taking care of her in life as she got older, and in death, he was the one who cleaned her body and prepared her body and everything. He did all that. And my friend Miss Rivers, the whole time she watched him to see, when he would break down, because his grandmother had raised him. His parents hadn't raised him, so they were kind of really all each other had for the most part, family-wise. And she was waiting for him to break down. She knew he was going to break down, and he didn't. And she asked him, after she had given him enough time, she told him, look, if you need to go ahead and let it out, get it out. And this has stayed with me. This is over 25 years ago she said this to me. What Mr. Chase, did I say Chase or Race? Mr. Race. What he said to her was, in life I did right by her, so there's no reason for me to regret anything. He said, working in his funeral home, I've seen all manner of people grieve, and the ones who hoop and holler and cry and scream the loudest are usually the ones who have some sort of guilt. Those are the ones who have things left unsaid. Those are the ones who didn't do right by the departed. And when she said that, it switched my perspective. So it wasn't about death anymore for me. When somebody dies, it wasn't about death. What it made me do is treat people better, so that I don't have to hoop, holler, and regret when anybody dies. And from that point to this, it's rare that I shed tears when somebody passes. If I do, I'm going to miss them. I love them, and I'm not going to be able to share new moments just that brief. And it's usually the joy when I have those tears from when they were alive that I'm feeling like, oh my God, what joy we created together. What? See, society today has got us scared of death. We're scared to die. Terrified. We've been told all these things about death. It is this, it is that. There is hell waiting for you. There is damnation. There is all these things, and we are scared to die. But beyond that, we are so preoccupied with death that we forget to treat people well right here in life. That is the part. Because once they pass, you won't have any guilt if you've treated them well your whole life. If you try and fill every moment with doing as many things with your beloved people, with your beloved family members and friends as you possibly can, you'll have all the experiences that you need. You'll have all the memories to take you through. But you have to create good memories in order for you to allow that type of transition without that type of grief. I haven't had that type of grief since then. And I'm fortunate. I'm real fortunate. And this is the part where I wonder with myself because I still have my parents. I'm still blessed to have my parents. I wonder when they pass how I'll feel. So far, I think I've treated my parents fairly well. I think I've been a good son. I've been an exemplary son for my nieces, for my nephews, for the rest of my family. I think I've done pretty well. I haven't done the best. I've made some train wreck decisions. I really have sometimes. And I'm grateful that my family has given me the grace to continue to move throughout this life without shaming me all the time, or trying to, or throwing it up in my face. So I try to be the type of person that they can be proud of. I hope that I am that. I hope that when they encounter me, they feel good. I hope I leave them with a good feeling. That is my objective in this life, to leave everybody that I encounter with a good feeling about me. You might not remember all the things I said. You might not remember all the things we did together, but you will remember how I made you feel. So with that, we have to rethink death. We have to rethink our relationship to death. Stop being so preoccupied with what death is, what's on the other side of it. That is why we don't have leaders in our community, because other people kill them. They use the fear of death to keep us in places that we don't need to be any longer. We can be further progressed in this country, in this world, and in our own minds. But we have to first believe it. And it begins when we shed our fear of the unknown. Because we have no idea what happens after death. All we know is what books people have written in books. Period. It's not the truth. I'm not saying it's the truth or a lie. All we know is what people have written in books. Nobody has come back from death definitively, sat in front of the entire world and said, this is what happens and I can prove it. So, if you take nothing else from this video, take away the fact that if you treat people well, you won't be at their funeral screaming, hollering, hooping, and crying because of the opportunities that are now gone. Treat people better. You'll cry less. And finally, one thing I want to add is we have this notion in our heads that death will come at a certain point, that we have a certain amount of years on this earth that we are supposed to live. And I am sorry to say that nobody is promised anything. Nobody here is promised any amount of time. I have friends who have buried not just their parents or their children. I have relatives who have buried their children. But I also have friends who have buried babies that weren't even born yet. So if you believe that you have a certain amount of years to do what it is you think you want to do in this life, if you think you have a certain amount of time to fix the relationships that have gone wrong in your life, you are mistaken. And that is another idea that we must shed. We must get rid of the idea that we have time. We have no idea how much time it is we have on this earth. And we should not think that we have an amount of time to do anything. Do it now. If there is a sorry that you have to say, do it now. If there is praise that you have to give it now. because you have no idea how much time you have left. And in that time, as I said earlier in the video, concentrate on life. Death is something that is promised to every soul that breathes on this planet. Nobody gets out of this life alive. It comes for us all. And none of us have any control over it, save those of people who, take their own lives. So the concentration, if there's any control that you have, it is while you are breathing. If there is a sorry that you must say it now. If there is a praise that you must give it now. Tomorrow is not promised. Love each other today.